Welcome to Ride at the Warehouse Sessions, Step into the Story. So who am I stepping into the story with today?
Pieter Loftus.
So I thought it'd be really fun to interview my husband, Pieter Loftus, because we just finished the largest show we've ever done, right? Definitely the largest show. So we've been doing this it's a decade in motion, just like it says right here. It's a decade in motion. We finished the June show, which was a couple weeks ago. It was the largest, fastest we've ever hung a show. Don't you agree?
Well, we planned it pretty well.
We planned it. I think after 10 years, we got it together. Yeah. We got it figured out. So I just thought it would be really fun to talk about what goes into a show and what goes into 10 years of making this happen. And I brought Pieter along because Pieter's the backbone. He's the get that shit done person. And without Pieter, we wouldn't have a show. I can come up with the craziest ideas a million times over, but if I don't have somebody to back me up, like Pieter, my husband, it would never be. So I just thought it'd be really fun to bring him along for this session. So let's just talk about how it all started. Do you remember back that far?
Oh, I remember sitting in bed talking about it.
Yeah,
trying to come up with a name and
coming up with a name. That's true. We just started dating. And I'm like, I want to do this show about motorcycles. And we were lying in bed, I remember, trying to come up with a name. It was at a gallery that I wanted to do was called La Bodega, which I think meant warehouse, right?
something similar.
Yeah. And so we came up with Ride to the Warehouse. Everybody's riding to it, right. And in my mind, Ride to the Warehouse meant we could do it anywhere, anytime, all over the country, and maybe all over the world. That was my vision at the time. In my brain at that time, and not even knowing what the show would be, we threw a big party.
We didn't have a lot of money, and we just wanted to make a gritty little art show. And La Bodega was the place to do it because that was the gritty little art gallery that didn't charge people a lot of money to do a show. And they had beer and
At the time,
an alcohol license.
Was the gallery to go. Everybody was having shows there at that time, so yeah. 10 years ago. It was in the barrio that was popping off at that time, just starting to pop off. And I was like, let me go check this place out. And Chris, the owner, and it was very affordable. I didn't even know it at that time. I didn't know what affordable was. Nothing was affordable at that time for me. Even it was at $250 to do the gallery, and I had to charge each girl some money so I could pay for it. I didn't know how to do it. I had no sponsors.
We split the bar, and I think we gave him the bar.
We gave him the bar. We did not split the bar that show. We did not know. We didn't even charge a ticket price. But what happened was, I remember standing outside of the gallery, the sun was setting, and there was like 500 people in that gallery. And I'm like, where did all these people come from?
Packed it in.
We packed it in, right?
Well, we made a good party. We had art, obviously, all the photos that all the photographers did. We had other art, sculptures that people made. We did.
I have a sculpture there now. Patrick.
And then we had a band.
We had 3 bands. We had all-female bands. So there was 3 of them. Barrio Speedwagon was one of them.
It was all good local bands, and then it was just a good party. And everybody rolled in, and I remember bikes parked all down around the street, and just girls everywhere, and dudes came down. Everybody came down.
We had an MC club from Tijuana, I remember. Do you remember that?
Some of the solos came up.
Solo Angels, right? And there were bikes lined up all up and down that street. I'll never forget it. There was hundreds of bikes. Where did this come from? Yeah. And that's where it all started. And then we just continued doing it.
Well, we just made it bigger and better, and we listened to our photographers, and we listened to all the contributors to the event, and whether they were riders or photographers or vendors, whatever. We didn't even have vendors then.
No, we didn't have any vendors. We just threw it together. It was kind of like, let's just see what will happen, and something big happened. And then we did a collage style, so all of the photographers would hang them. So this is how we all started. And so
all the pictures were this big because nobody wanted to spend any money.
Yeah, all the getting the prints done, right? I just want to talk about behind the scenes, what goes on. The show went off without a hitch. It was absolutely incredibly gorgeous, right? But it's the crazy people like us that take the leap of faith, or whatever you want to call it. Or for me, and it is for you too, it's like a creative, for me, it's a big painting, and I love art, so I just keep going, right?
I was driving off into the middle of nowhere, arguing in the car about how we're going to shoot something, or photographers were like freaking out because whatever, their gear is not working or whatever it is.
There's a lot going on.
And we get all the photos back and we're like, nope, this is good, whatever.
Yeah.
Trying to understand what everybody's doing, and me not being a photographer, but the director of photography, where, I mean, I have all the pointers that I'll give to the photographers based off our past experience. I'm learning, by the way.
That's true. So we say that real quick, but Peter's learning because he wants to start and jump in as a photographer, which I think is amazing. That'd be great to add it to the
Well, I have good vision. So,
no, you have
composition
really
and all that.
Well, you have really great ideas. When we do the shoots, we go out. You help direct because you have an eye, a lot like a photographer eye. And I love that you come in. We get the leaf blower out sometimes and the reflectors, and we do whatever we can to help that photographer get that picture. Yeah.
Well, I stand with the photographers and I talk to them about the shoot or what they're shooting. Sometimes it's just flat. It's a girl sitting on a motorcycle. Sometimes it's a flat shot, or it's whatever. The light's perfect and everything's perfect, but there needs to be something. We only get one shot. You put this big photo up, and we try variations. Like, yeah, sometimes I'll bust the leaf blower out and kick up a bunch of dust, or blow their hair a certain way, or we'll do a riding shot. We'll actually get down the road, and a safe closed road, because usually we're running helmets off. Yep. A low speed, because we want to see the model, right?
Well, we want to see the woman's face. You want to see her expression. You want to see her. So a lot of times with the helmet, but then I also want to interject that Builtwell gave us a bunch of helmets this past year. They gave us, what, 6 helmets? Really cool, all the new ones, and they're the open face, so we can have those, bonanzas, right? So we'll have those on the future shoots, so we can see the woman's face, and then she can also be safe at the same time. So thank you, Builtwell, for definitely bringing that, for sure. 100%. But
because if I wanted to do photos of people wearing their full face, their showy or their bell or their whatever, it's I could put anybody behind that.
Yeah, it doesn't. You can't see the girl. You can't see her.
No, we want to catch the personality. Yeah. Obviously, we're trying to catch their big part of what we're trying to capture is who is this person that we're shooting a picture of, and are they, whether even if they're not so photogenic or whatever, or they're not professional models, they're regular people, but we want to get a sense of who they are and their personality, and you can only come through when you see their face and their smile, their eyes, all of
and
that.
I think that's the hard, maybe the challenge, is they're not professional models. None of us are. I guess some of them are in this show, but it's very awkward to have someone up in your face with a camera. Sure. I've gotten used to it over the years, but they're right up there, right? And you're like, oh God, you can count every hair in my head, whatever kind of thing. But a leaf blower, a lot of times, it's just for comic relief. It's just to get people to relax, because someone shoots you and they're just standing there going, what do I do? And some photographers are better at directing and saying, you move this way or that way. And some girls do it automatically because they know what they're doing. And then other times they're just like, so it helps when you're there, because I do shoots without you a lot. But when you're there, it makes it easier because we can play off each other and we can help the photographer get that girl to relax. Because in the relaxed state is where her true sense.
Well, sometimes it's a matter of talking to the girl, talking to the photographer, kind of translating between the two, because where the photographer, especially if they're a pro that's used to dealing with pros, and you've got a person that's really never had their photo taken, at least in this context, and to make them feel safe and relaxed. This is a safe environment. You can be yourself, and we can edit shots. We can delete shots if there's just something that you don't agree with, or you didn't feel right in the shot, then we can delete the shot, or we can reshoot things, at least at that moment.
And we definitely reshot things.
But the other part is, too, we want it to be a surprise at the end of the day. We want them...
Which picture we pick. Yeah.
Right. They don't know what photo, not even the photographer knows what photo we picked, really. And then until they see it up on the ceiling in the warehouse. So that's important, and that's a big read on people.
That's big for me, and for we. It's a huge responsibility to pick that picture, because sometimes we get, I don't know, 20, 30 pictures of that girl, depending on the photographer. Some only give me a few, so others give me a ton. One, like John Lennon, he talked to him a couple weeks ago. I'm selfish, he keeps them to himself. But there are other photographers that give us a full-on gallery, and they're all really good. So it is a huge responsibility and a huge honor to pick the picture. I try not to get wrapped up in my head and worried about if they're gonna like it or not. I hope that the women, when you're in the show, that you truly feel seen, heard, and celebrated, because that's my intention. I hope so. I love the photo, and I think a lot of this project, I was just speaking to someone recently, in fact yesterday, and a lot of women, we see ourselves and all our flaws and all the things that we don't like about ourselves. We want it to be more filtered because we're used to in the Instagram world of everything being super filtered, that there are no wrinkles and it's not real. So this show is about authenticity. So yes, we touch them up a bit, but not to a point where you don't look like yourself. It is your true.
Smooth you all out.
No. I want to see some character in those shots. So that's not for everyone. Some people are like, oh, I don't know if I like it. I go, but this is who you are. This is how you really look in the real world without any kind of AI filter or anything on it.
So when we ask you to be in the show, be aware of that.
It's a good, yeah, sure. I didn't know that it's going to be your best authentic self, which I think in the world of AI, we were speaking about this on the way over here, people are going to be starving for some imperfection or some reality because everything's going to be too perfect and too AI. I'm getting over the AI at this moment.
We talk about that all the time because it's the perfection. You can chase perfection all day long, whether it's how a person looks or a motorcycle, how it's built or whatever. And it's wabi-sabi, right? It's the little flaws that draw us in, and that's what we want in the character of what we're trying to create. And even within the show, I mean, there's flaws all over the gallery. I don't ever not perfect, anything like that, but it's
but no one sees it.
Right, no one sees it.
No one sees the flaws.
It's a human. It's the show's built by humans for humans, and we're fallible people, and but that's okay. That's part of the art of it. And if I wanted to make it plastic and perfect, then sure, I'd put all AI girls up on the ceiling, but that'd be pointless.
Yeah,
and there's no story there.
The flaws is where the beauty is. That's for me. They say the crack is where the light comes in. There's a saying about that. And it is true. That imperfection is your magic.
That's the other part of it, too, is that when we were at those shoots, for me personally, when I'm at the shoots and I get the chance to talk to the models that are there and getting to know them, where you can look at somebody on Instagram and you see their story the way they want to portray it with all the rough edges kind of cut off, and they don't talk about what's really going on in their lives, and then you get to know them a little bit and you learn things about them, whether they're fighting for their life with cancer or they're dealing with whatever, domestic abuse. There's some really gut-wrenching stories in some of those women. And then there's a lot of beauty in that too, and there's passion and there's drive, and then you see the whole picture, and that's a bigger part of the picture. And we try to capture that when we do the bios and the stories, and we put that on the website behind the photo. If you go to the website and you actually click on the photo, you'll get a bio, and you'll get some of that information about them. Obviously not too personal, but as much as they want to put out there. And you really learn about these people, and you see a greater, beautiful picture. And
because it's more than just the pictures, what you're saying, and that's the beauty of our show, which I'm really proud.
But that's part of what creates the community too, because some of these people have endured things together.
We've been together. There's some of those women hanging in that gallery before we opened the door. I went around the room and I try to look at every picture and take it all in. And a couple of those women, well, more than a couple, are no longer with us. They have passed away from cancer or a motorcycle accident, but they're still part of the community. And I'm really honored that we get to carry them with us, and it's in a beautiful way. This show is different from most shows because it is about the heart and soul of that human being. The motorcycle is just a side thing. It's really about the community, I feel, and we both feel the same way, is where the magic happens, right? Because each woman, when I was standing there, we hung that show, and I was like, it was very emotional for me because I look around the room, all these women, and I'm like, I was at most of the shoots, and I was like, I know each and every woman's name. One of the girls when we were hanging, she goes, I bet you believe every woman's name. I go, I know almost every woman's name because I was doing the bios. I was putting them in the computer. I was like, doing at the shoots. I was asking about their story. There's a lot of trust that goes in it, and I am grateful. We are grateful that the community trusts us. We have meals, we've been in their homes, we've shared their losses, their celebration. I love what you said. What was it? You said something, you wrote something beautiful about after the show. It's about the pain and the struggle and the beauty and all of it surrounding us in that room. There was so many different emotions in that room at the same time because of the photos. That I love that. Yeah. Do you remember what you said? It was so pretty.
I remember the gist of it. I would have to read it verbatim if you want it verbatim. But there's a lot of emotion in the room, at least for me, being more personally connected to it. And in the photo that I posted about that, obviously there was a daughter and her mother had passed away. And both of those people I had personal relationships with and friendship with. and there were people I spoke to often. So there was a lot of emotion there. And even Megan's ashes were there.
Megan's
in
ashes
the
were
box.
there, right? Her mom.
Addie brought her mother's ashes to the show.
Yeah.
Again, what a beautiful
Right.
space it
And
was.
a lot of people probably didn't see that, but everybody else too. I go and I see photos of some of the other girls, and it's like, oh, I've had lunch with that person, or I've talked to that person when they were struggling with a relationship problem, or their motorcycle, just trying to fix it or get it on the road, and everything else. I think, and there is a lot of emotion there. There's a lot of connection there, which is important. I think that's important. That's part of the community side of what we do.
Do you remember what you said? Yeah. Anyway, so I would say is,
kinda here.
well, so your Instagram is Pieter. So you look it up and it's on there and it has a picture of Addie and Megan together, right? It's so beautiful. If you have a moment, read it because it really is, I feel, the heart of the show. I love because we've grown so much from where we started to where we're at now. And I feel like this last show, the LA show especially, it just really clicked. I feel for me, it's always been that way and it has been for you. But I feel like for the whole community finally feels it. I feel like every woman that came into that room, walked in that room, that was in the show, felt connection. It was big.
For their tribe, and there's many tribes there. There's many communities represented there. That was just what I was saying, is that every girl that's hanging from the ceiling, all those photos are, each person represents a small community that, whether they're connected to us or not, they're connected. And that's a bigger part of the show. It's not really the show per se, but it's just the personality of what we're doing. And that's
humanity, and that's beautiful, and that's really what it is. All over that gallery, it's humanity and all of its beauty, paint, all the different, right? That's really cool. So would you say, I would ask you, what has Ride of the Warehouse, how have you changed because of Ride of the Warehouse? That would be my question.
probably changed in a lot of ways. It's about being more creative, definitely connecting with people. I think that I'm always impressed by when I meet people, and as you meet people, you form an initial impression, and I'm always surprised and happy when that impression gets shattered, and I really see who this person really is and the goodness that's in them. And I think that's something that's changed me, and it's definitely made me think more about the people that surround my life, but your life too.
Yeah.
And then and what kind of relationship do we form with those people? And I think it's, for me to change, sure I've grown in that. It's been 10 years, so.
Yeah.
Or I may have taken it on as, this is just a silly art project at first, but now it's a little more serious. And I've definitely gotten to know people in a bigger way.
Let's think about the community though.
So if we didn't do the show, because there's a lot of times I have to say that doing what we've been doing, it's a little much sometimes. And we can be like, okay, this is the last show. We're just like, it's a lot. But then at the end of the day, what would our lives be without it? For me personally, I feel empty on that. Not that I wouldn't fill it with other things, but it's added so many layers and so much beauty because I know each woman in a very beautiful way, right? And people come and they go in the industry. They come and they go in the show. Some women don't ride anymore. Some are not with us anymore. And then there's some that have been with us for the last 10 years, and I've watched them, grow with us, right? And it's really cool. At the end of my life, what do I want to be known for? That was one of our questions. In fact, we'll ask that one in our bios. So when we did the bios this year, we kept some fun questions, like what you want your hair to look like in the zombie apocalypse. And the other one was like, what do you want to be known for when all is said and done, basically when you leave this planet? And for me, I want to be known for, I saw that person. Katie saw me, celebrated me, and she lifted me up, because that's who I am. And what would you say for you?
What would your legacy be?
That's, I don't know. If I think about it, it's just that I connected people and in meaningful ways. And I think there's always a point where in all of our communities and dealings, that I brought people together. And I've never been one to separate people, really. And but I've always brought people together.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just a nice guy, but it's...
Well, you're more than that. So
Yeah.
you're more than just a nice guy. You have heart, soul. Like you see people for who they really are, which is what I love about you. You want to get to know people on a deeper level. It's just who you are. And you're just not a surface kind of a person, which is why I love you. And this show helps cultivate all of those things in you and in the entire community, I feel, right?
But did I make a difference? That's the other part is that I've had people walk up and say, you made a difference. You made me feel seen in a good way. And that to me is really important. When someone comes up, especially when the ladies come up and tell me that, and where they maybe had struggled with relationships with men or anybody else, and they were like, you were kind and you were thoughtful and you saw me for who I am, and I never felt threatened or anything like that, and I was comfortable. And that's great for me. That's all I need.
That's great. So I love that. So all of those things, it's very true. So the cool part about you is Peter's always surrounded by a bunch of women because we do Ride of the Warehouse. So Peter does not complaining, I don't think, because it's always Peter and like 10 women if we're doing a photo shoot, or Peter, maybe a male photographer, Bob will come in, Bob Biddy or John Lennon or somebody, or Mark Vargas, and there'll be some male photographers, but we have a lot of female photographers also. But maybe the only man in the room or the only man out in the middle of the desert with these women, and it's a cool thing, right? I mean, and they're all your friends. It's cool. No, it's rad. So what are you looking forward to as far as the rest of the year? So we are doing Bisbee September 11th through the 13th because we're going on the road. And then we're coming back to San Diego, our home. We call it the homecoming show in November 7th. But what is the thing that you're looking forward to as far as getting on the road? It's coming soon, so.
Other than meeting more cool people.
And creating really cool art again, right?
Yeah.
Because every time we hang a show, it's completely different. So we had the large warehouse, like we said, the roller rink in Los Angeles, nitty gritty, right? And then we're going to Bisbee, and we're upstairs on the 3rd floor of the Legion Hall. And it's like this ballroom up there with a chandelier in the middle and this really cool old bar, like turn of the century bar, lots of wood, windows, like a lot of ambiance, more intimate, a little more dimmer lighting, I feel. We'll have a runway show. It'll be a little more elegant. We're not doing skates this time. You know, we're a little different. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Because we love Bisbee. Yeah. You know, it's a town of, I think, 5,500 people, and then we're gonna take over Bisbee for the weekend. We've got, you know, Vonna joining us. They're gonna kick off their North American tour in Bisbee for their films. In fact, might as well say this, we're shooting a film, we're in the middle of it right now, and we're going to hopefully debut our film in Bisbee of, you know, kind of story and the connections that we made with a lot of the women that we ride with. So looking forward to that, yeah. And then San Diego, so that's November 7th, and that's homecoming. And I've got cooking up some really cool ideas for San Diego. So each show's different. So if you got the passport, good for you, because they're all different, even though some of the pictures may be the same. We do have some new women in San Diego show coming, because we'll be shooting some of the girls that are here in SD. I mean, I got a girl, so, yeah. But yeah, so, anything you want to say, or?
If you missed the show in LA, you really missed out, but we will be, obviously there's 2 more shows left. We're going to do a new passport for just those 2 shows if you want to do both, with the discounted rate. And then we're going to do some prizes for that giveaway. I don't know.
Yeah. Actually, we're giving away prizes. Thanks for reminding me. So I'll be drawing a prize here for SBS breaks and for a hotel room for the weekend of Bisbee at the Objects Hotel. So that'll be a nice gift for someone. Right. Yeah.
And we'll come up with something fun for San Diego.
I guess good idea. So we won't let out yet, but we'll talk about soon. Anyway, thanks all for listening, and I look forward to the next sessions with Ride to the Warehouse. And what I always say is happy trails.
Yeah. See you on the road.